What's going on, everyone? My name is Jake. This is Where I Talk Capes, and today we're talking about something that was announced yesterday, and I forgot to record this video after I got home from work. Of course, we're talking about the recent news that James Gunn has announced another project from DC Studios, another animated project, the first animated feature film titled Dynamic Duo. This movie, Dynamic Duo, is going to be focused on the Robins, and yes, I did say that correctly, Robins plural. This is going to be a movie focused on the first two Robins, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Right now, all we have is a James Gunn announcement and a lot of posts from places like Variety and Forbes and Entertainment Weekly, and everyone breaking down all these things that they've heard and found out from their sources. But first of all, I'm just going to read what James Gunn said on his Instagram post, which announced this yesterday. Taking to Instagram, the head of DC Studios, James Gunn, said, "Over the moon excited to announce the newest DC Studios / Warner Bros. Pictures animation greenlit film for theatres, Dynamic Duo, the story of Robin, or should I say Robins, as in Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. The first feature film from the visionary Swaybox, a mix of animation, puppetry and CGI, a script from the wonderfully talented Matt Aldridge, produced with their partners at Matt Reeves' Sexton, Idaho. This is something special." Now, there's a lot to unpack there. I think the biggest name there in all of that is Matt Reeves. Now, this is being produced by his production company, but this is not directly linked to the Batman world. James Gunn has said that the DCU is going to contain a mixture of all things animation and live action and video games and TV, and everything is going to be a part of that. Everything is going to be canon. So I think this is probably going to fall under the umbrella of the DCU and probably not under Matt Reeves' The Batman. I think that for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think Matt Reeves' The Batman and now The Penguin have a very clear style and tone and visual edge and grit and dirt and grime to it. And I think that can be translated well into animation, but I don't necessarily think that Matt Reeves really wants to kind of muddy the waters with, you know, blending live action and animation in a way that's kind of not really been done. Obviously, the MCU have done it with What If, but that's, you know, What If is its own thing. Kind of separate Elseworld stories that I guess are technically canon, but not really. Whereas James Gunn has already said that the scope of the DCU is going to allow for animated material to be considered as canon and people to kind of jump in and out of live action and animation. And hopefully that speeds up the process of getting good content out to us. And hopefully, I believe that James Gunn is going to pay his animators. Just pay your fucking animators. Pay your animation team so your movies can be good. Because you know what happens when you don't pay your animators? You promised me that I would have seen Beyond the Spider-Verse by now. And I've not. And you promised me it's going to come out on the same day as Mickey 17, which is a completely separate issue. And that's not even out either. By the way, complete aside, that trailer looks amazing. Robert Pattinson doing a little freak man voice in space. Gorgeous. But that is the big headline grabbing news, that this movie is being made in association with Matt Reeves' production company. Now, I do think, like I say, this will probably, if it's going to be to one of these universes, be part of the DCU. But it's good to see that Matt Reeves is being involved in all facets of this thing here, and there doesn't seem to be this kind of sort of rivalry and jealousy between the two that if you go on r/Snyder Cut, they would have you believe that James Gunn has for every filmmaker. But just, it's insane that the Snyder Cut Reddit is still active, and like not in the way that Batman Arkham's Reddit is active. I think I might make a video on that Reddit about it because it's insane. And you got to promise not to send it to them unless it's really funny. Then do, and then I will get views. People will come here and call me a cuck or something because I like James Gunn movies. Another piece of headline grabbing news from that announcement is that Matthew Aldridge is penning the script. Matthew Aldridge was the writer behind Coco and Lightyear for Disney. One of them is much better than the other, but he has a good pedigree in writing. I'm not overly familiar with a lot of things that he's done, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to research on camera, and if none of the things I recognise, well then I'm just going to do this. And then if I do recognise something, I'll talk about it, so give me a minute. He's written 5 things. One of them is Coco. One of them is Lightyear. And I've not seen anything else. But he's got the script for this. Oh, he's also writing the untitled Narnia Netflix film, so good for him. Good for him. The studio behind the animation, Swaybox, are a company who are apparently known for blending puppetry and stop motion with CGI, and I can't say I've actually seen anything that Swaybox have produced. I'm very intrigued after hearing that is their style. I'm definitely going to check some things out. After reading those words and hearing that this is the style of animation that Swaybox do, I'm very, very excited. I'm definitely going to look into them. I've went on their website, they just have a reel, and it's a clip from their first film, a little short film they made called Ben, I think. Here it is. Look at that. Look at this amazing blend of all of these styles of animation, and it's gone now. That's a very, very, very intriguing way to take this forward, given the scale of the project and the scope of the project and the eyes on this project. I'm very interested to see how this goes. I trust the decision making process, and I absolutely trust that they are going to be capable of something of this magnitude and something with this scrutiny, but I'm very excited to see what they do for this project. One final thing to note just before I start talking about my kind of perceptions and my feelings and my thoughts on this. This is also the first project announced that wasn't announced in James Gunn's original Gods and Monsters slate. So maybe this comes after Swamp Thing. Maybe this gets squeezed into the Gods and Monsters slate. Maybe some things from that Gods and Monsters slate aren't going ahead, or maybe they've been moved. Who knows? This is the first new announcement for the DCU, which is very exciting. But now that we've talked all about that and discussed the facts of everything, I have a few feelings here, a few thoughts. First of all, Matt Reeves' involvement in the project gets me quite excited, but also worries me. I have been a big believer and shouter from the rooftops that Robert Pattinson's Batman should get a Robin. Now, I'm not overly hopeful that's going to come the way I think it should have, just due to what's going on in the Penguin, and we're going to talk about that. I was originally going to talk about that in this video, and then yesterday this was announced, and this obviously pushed my Penguin video back, so I'll probably wait maybe until I've seen the next episode of Penguin. Was it only 6 episodes? That'll be us halfway through the season, I think. I'll make a Penguin video soon, don't worry. My issues with this stem from the fact that Pattinson himself has said he wants a Robin, and the Batman universe kind of felt like we were maybe gearing up towards a Robin. I know that's something insane to say considering we've only had one single movie, but in that movie Bruce realises he can't be vengeance, he has to be justice. And then in movie 2 he should embody justice and improving the world and building everything up and help rebuild Gotham after the flood wall, or after the flood and the seawall collapsed. And then everyone kind of felt that's probably going to be the end of that movie. Bruce goes to the circus. We start movie 3. He has a child who he's teaching ninja skills. And then we have a little, 12 to 15-year-old Robin in the Batman Part 3, where it'll probably end. And that's fun because we have a fun Robin, and Robin who is a child, which... this was the last time we had Robin in live action. Oh no, sorry, this was. But really this one. And in Batman Forever, he's like, yeah, I got away from the orphanage. What were you doing at the orphanage? You're a man and you're 27 years old. You shouldn't be hanging around orphanages, bro. Stop that. So, between the news that we're hearing from the Penguin, and that the Penguin show obviously kicks off right as the Batman finishes, and apparently the Batman Part 2 is going to kick off right after the Penguin finishes, that kind of makes the place for a Robin to fit in kind of shrink a little bit. And maybe Matt Reeves' involvement here is him saying, yeah, I love Robin, I love it so much, but there's a stink and a perception around Robin that I don't want near my movie, so you can have him, and you can do that, all that fun stuff. And I think that's just a massive disservice to the character. I think with the announcement that we're getting The Brave and the Bold, and it's going to be a Damen Wayne centric story, that means we're on our 4th main Robin. Stephanie Brown and Carrie Kelly, also very good Robins, but we're talking the main 4 Robins. We're talking Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, my glorious king, Tim Drake, and Damen Wayne. If we're on Damen Wayne, that means we've had 3 Robins already, which means in the DCU we should have Nightwing. In my opinion, we should introduce Red Hood, have him come back later. And maybe we do, maybe this, because this is set when they are younger, maybe we can still do this in live action. For me, the Bat family should be fully established, and then maybe we introduce a Red Hood. Maybe Red Hood could be the villain of The Brave and the Bold, but we should have a Tim Drake and a Dick Grayson and a Damen Wayne and an Oracle and all of these things. So, to get back to the original point I was trying to make, the idea that Reeves possibly could be, maybe seemingly, is pushing away a Robin to see if it works for someone else, when that universe is already going to have 4 established main Robins, is a bit crazy, because they're not really taking a risk the way that the Batman would, and I understand maybe that's not what he wants to do. He wants to play it safe. He knows this formula has worked for him, but what if he takes that leap and it's amazing, which I imagine it would be. But in terms of the wider implications for the DCU, I also have some thoughts. First of all, just give me a Nightwing movie. Just give me a Nightwing movie. Do this one. This is Trial Boy 17's Nightwing video. It's really good. Watch it. Do that movie. Put that in there. Really, really good idea for a movie. Do the Nightwing movie. Maybe bring the Red Hood back for Brave and the Bold. Give me Tim Drake on my screens. And give me Damian, who I also think is a lot of fun. This also, to me, if this is the first real announcement of the wider Bat family, I'm worried about the lack of Tim Drake. Because Tim Drake is my favourite Robin. Tim Drake is the best Robin. And the idea that... Listen, he's not the best character. That is obviously Dick Grayson. But in terms of, as a Robin, it's Tim Drake. But if the Brave and the Bold already starts 4 Robins deep, and now we get this sort of backstory movie about the first 2 Robins, what's going on with Tim Drake? Are we doing Tim Drake? Are we... what are we doing about Jason becoming the Red Hood? Does that happen in this movie? Do you do the death of Jason Todd in an animated movie without your Batman? Because this is set with the 2 of them as younger characters, which I mentioned before, and I am rambling. I should have wrote a little script to keep me on topic, but that's not the point of this channel. It's also 11:30. I'm very tired. I was up at 6:30 this morning, so leave me be. But I'm just kind of worried about where this fits in the wider DCU. What are the implications for this in the wider DCU? If we do the death of Jason Todd here, that's obviously the inciting incident that brings Tim Drake into the Bat family. But once again, I don't think you should do a story with that, of that significance, in an animated movie without... But I don't know. The movie is set to depict the friendship between the first 2 Robins as they grow and act as young Robins, and obviously they have 2 completely different styles as Robin. One is, this graceful acrobat, and one is was this, rough and ready kid who was raised on the street. So we'll see that dichotomy in the way that they are different in their approach to, being Robin. But I'm just kind of confused right now as to where this fits. And I understand this movie's probably 4 years away, and it has literally just been announced. But I have my thoughts and I have my worries regarding this movie. I don't know if that was clear with the fact I've yapped for 20 minutes at 11:30 at night. All of this is to say, I'm very, very excited for this movie, but I am worried about what this means for the kind of wider scope of the DCU. And I'm also worried for what this means for the wider scope of the Batman verse. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be incredible. I'm saying that based off of the fact that I kind of just blindly give James Gunn my faith in everything. But I think this is going to be very good. It's a very interesting idea. Typically those 2 aren't really seen together whilst Robins, from my comic book understanding. Obviously it's not as wide as I would like it to be, or as deep or as vast as I would like it to be, but I've not really read many stories where they're both kind of there at the same time doing a Robin-y thing. Dick always kind of leaves, becomes Nightwing, and then he's like, bring in this kid. Try to steal the wheels off my car. Bring him in. In you come. So I'm interested to see where the story goes. I think the concept is very, very interesting. The 2 Robins who are the most far apart from each other. The original 2, the original Robin and the first successor. So I think it'll be very interesting. I do think it's a dynamic I would rather see played out on screen, and I do think it's a dynamic I would rather see played out with an established Nightwing, and we do the Under the Red Hood story for Brave and the Bold, because I personally have thought for a while that's probably the most interesting way you can take that movie. mainly because we don't need more Joker. Hey, watch my last video. But apart from that, I'm just rambling now. I've not made an original point for the entire video, but also for the last 5 minutes at least. So I'm going to leave it there. A lot of thoughts. Final points. I'm excited. Give me more Robin, but stop being scared of Robin. Okay? Thanks. So that is it for me today. Like I say, I'll have a wee Penguin video up in the near future because I'm really loving that show. It's been really, really good so far. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave all your little comments down below. Call me all sorts of names because my comic knowledge isn't as vast as yours, or because I said something bad about Zack Snyder. Share this around to all your friends and say, hey, this handsome guy has incorrect comic book opinions. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.